Wildlife is facing absolutely huge threats at the moment. There's pretty much no species of plant or animal that is not threatened or impacted some way by human actions. So it really is our duty to try and protect them in any way possible.
We have a number of species here, for example, that are extinct in the wild, only occur now in human care in zoos, or are so threatened that actually we need to have them as a lifeboat in terms of protecting them. The animals being here now have a really important role to play, and it isn't just about saying, okay, well, we can bring people in and see them. It's actually saying, well, what do we do to make the most out of this population? How can the population we've already got in zoos play a real role in what's happening in the wild?
Maintaining as much genetic diversity as possible is what we're trying to do with our zoo populations, so that if we ever need to in the future, we can help to supplement wild populations.
The easiest way to maintain genetic diversity is to have a large population. But at the same time, when we talk about space, what we're talking about is how many high quality, high welfare exhibits are there in a number of zoos where we can maintain those animals.
There's no way that Chester Zoo alone could maintain a healthy insurance population of different species. We need to have collaboration from many, many different partners to make that work. The best thing really about having a network of lots of different zoos working together is that we've got so much more resource together, we've got so much more space, we've got so much more staff time and dedicated and passionate conservationists all working together.
We've got to manage that population, firstly to make sure that we don't produce more than we can hold really well within zoos, but we produce enough that we can maintain that genetic diversity we need to, otherwise we'll lose genetic diversity of the population. We've got this population that's got all of these genes in it that are adapted for the wild. How can we keep it in the zoo for 100 years as a population and not change it? We don't want to select it to be anything, we want it to be exactly as it always was. If we think of each rhino as a collection of its genes, and all of those genes being important in the overall population, how do we manage that population that all of those genes are equally represented so that the animals that go back to the wild, if that's what happens eventually, are as similar as those that came out as they possibly can be, and that takes a lot of management.
So recently there's been quite a lot of work into genetic diversity and comparing genetic diversity that is present in populations in the wild and populations that are in zoos. And in a number of cases we've actually found that the genetics that are represented in zoos are no longer represented in the wild. For example, because a whole population has been wiped out of a certain area in the wild. So that means that sometimes we can have animals in zoos that are holding really, really important genetic diversity that's no longer present in the wild. So that means it's vitally important that zoos work together to protect and kind of keep that genetic diversity alive in these populations.